A poll released last week showed that twice as many young people in this country regard big business as a threat as do communism. And it seems that Marxist thought's apparently enjoying something of a resurgence on British campuses. One leader, in fact, of a university Marxist society said just a couple of weeks ago, despite the monstrosity of the Stalinist regime, and I'm quoting, we can see the power and strength of a planned economy. Now, I think this is an important story because the question isn't whether there's planning behind an economy, but who does the planning. Arguably, if you look at history, communism serves vested interests as much as or more than capitalism. At least under capitalism, markets have the power to change things, and markets are driven by the tastes and behaviours of individuals. And for all this utopian rhetoric, Marxist governments anyway, quickly morph into introverted, self-serving cultures that look after the interests of their members, of their elite members. So I think what's happening here, if we're not careful, the path to Marxism will lead another generation of these passionate reformist young people that I love into disappointment and disillusionment, just as it did students of my age in the 1960s, especially 1968. So it's a debate that needs to go on, but we need to be aware of some of the directions that it's taking.
I feel like, the kind of underlying sentiment is it's not fair, which is something I hear from my 3-year-old and my 6-year-old almost on a daily basis. It's not fair because we were asking the question this week, in what other job do you fail and still get paid? I mean, it seems like madness, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and it isn't fair, and there needs to be a redress of those issues, especially for the 28,000 people affected by a loss of pension or threat of a loss of pension. But look, life isn't fair too.
True.
And we're not going to solve the problem through politics alone. I think one of the issues that disturbs me a little bit today is that where in my parents' generation politics was at the periphery of life, now it seems to be part of the everyday fabric of life, and almost everything we talk about has a political aspect. I think that gives politicians too much credit.
And you hear again and again, I'm not trying to politicise the issue, but again, politics always gets called in there.
Well, as soon as you say that, you've politicised the issue, haven't you? As Suzanne said before, we need to take personal responsibility for who we are as individuals, and I think that's part of this debate. But I am a little concerned about the rise of Marxist thought and the shutting down of opinion. I was twice no-platformed by the NUS 3 years ago for something I had written in 1994 on an issue that they didn't approve of. And I wasn't there to speak about that issue. I was there to speak about futurism. I just feel we're shutting students off if we do that from debate. I'm concerned that Marxism will be mistaken for something rosier than it really is.